Good morning, viewers. You're watching Republic TV. My name is Priyanka Das, and welcome to today's segment of Quick Morning, where we delve into the latest news and updates from around the world and the country to set the tone for you. From Prime Minister Narendra Modi is showing a strong condemnation of a recent attack on a Hindu temple in Canada to Karnataka High Court to hear a petition today requesting a CBI probe into the Muda scam irregularities. Stay tuned to Republic TV as we bring you the ground realities of these developments. But that's not all. We'll also be bringing you the latest updates from the realms of business, sports and entertainment in our jam-packed lineup for this morning. So let's get started with the mega news day here on Republic, as always with the nation first this quick morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi issued a strong condemnation of a recent attack on a Hindu temple in Canada on Monday, emphasizing the need for justice and the protection of diplomatic personnel. In a post on social media platform X, Prime Minister Modi described the assault as a deliberate attack that reflects a troubling trend of violence against minority communities abroad. The incident, which occurred at a Hindu temple in a Canadian city, involved vandalism and intimidation of worshippers. Prime Minister Modi's statement underscored the gravity of the situation, labeling the acts as cowardly and calling for the Canadian government to take immediate action to uphold the rule of law and ensure the safety of all communities. The incident has drawn significant attention from the Indian officials and the diaspora community in Canada, who are now calling for enhanced security measures and a thorough investigation into the matter. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday accused the Congress of making attempts to snatch reservations meant for tribals and hand them to its voter bank. Addressing an election rally in Chaibasa in Jharkhand's West Singhbhum district, the Prime Minister said he worships those who have been rejected by the others. Prime Minister Modi alleged that the JMM-led ruling coalition in the state has put tribal identity, dignity and existence at stake by facilitating Bangladeshi infiltrators to make fake documents. The Prime Minister said that if the BJP is voted to power in the state, it would bring stringence of the legislation to return grabbed by infiltrators.
JMM, कांग्रेस, आरजेडी ने तुष्टीकरण की नीति को चरम पर पहुंचा दिया है। ये तीनों दल सामाजिक तानाबाना तोड़ने पर आमाद है। ये तीनों दल घुसपैठिया समर्थक है। बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठियों के वोट पाने के लिए ये इन घुसपैठियों को पूरे झारखंड में बसा रहे हैं।
Karnataka Chief Minister Sida has been summoned by the Lokayukta police to appear for questioning on November 6 as part of the investigation into the Muda land allotment controversy. This development comes on the heels of recent interrogations of several officials associated with the case, including Mallikarjun Swamy and Devarajan. The inquiry revolves around a scheme that allowed for the allocation of 50% for the developed land to individuals who had given up undeveloped land for residential developments, raising questions about the legitimacy of the allotments. The Karnataka High Court has scheduled a hearing today on a petition requesting a CBI probe into the alleged land scam irregularities involving Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. The case, brought forth by RTI activist Snehamai Krishna, questions the transparency of the current investigation by the state's anti-corruption body Lokayukta and seeks independent scrutiny. Justice M. Nagaprasanna's bench will take up the petition, where Krishna argues that the Lokayukta's proximity to the state government could hinder an impartial probe. Recently, a Karnataka special court had directed the Lokayukta to investigate claims of irregularities within the Mysuru Urban Development Authority involving Siddaramaiah and other officials. The Lokayukta has since filed an FIR and is required to submit its findings within 3 months. Tensions flared in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly yesterday over National Conference MLA's objectionable gesture, sparked heated debate over Article 370. The objectionable gesture was made after the resolution was moved by PDP MLA Wahid Para against the abrogation of Article 370. This comes when Chief Minister Omar Abdullah was replying to Speaker after resolution by PDP MLA, and there was heated exchange of arguments between the Treasury bench and the opposition, which included the 28 legislators from BJP, Jammu and Kashmir People's Conference, Sajad Lone, and 3 MLAs of PDP. This comes as a couple of minutes after the BJP legislator was banished into the well of the House, demanding that the comments made by PDP MLA should be expunged immediately. BJP objected to objectionable gesture by National Conference Pahalgam MLA Atlaf Kalu. Avinash Rane, the candidate from the Shiv Sena Shinde group, has withdrawn his nomination for the Anushakti Nagar Assembly seat on Monday. Rane was initially set to contest against Sana Malik, who is the daughter of the NCP leader Nawab Malik of the Ajit Pawar faction. Avinash Rane's withdrawal comes as a surprise amid the ongoing political maneuvers ahead of the upcoming elections. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will hold rally in Lohardaga today, where he will seek votes from the public for NDA candidate Neeru Shanti Bhagat. BJP State President Babulal Marandi and All Jharkhand Students' Union Supremo and former Deputy Chief Minister Suresh Kumar Mahato will also be with him. Tragedy struck in Uttarakhand's Almora district when a bus carrying around 50 passengers fell into a deep gorge, claiming the lives of 36 people and injuring 27 others. The victims included 22 male passengers, 10 females and 4 minors. The bus was travelling from Pauri to Ramnagar when the accident occurred near Marchula. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami visited the Ramdas Joshi Government Hospital in Ramnagar to meet the injured and ordered a magisterial inquiry into the incident. The Chief Minister also announced compensation for the victims' families with Rs 4 lakhs for each deceased and Rs 1 lakh for the injured. 3 injured passengers were airlifted to AIIMS Rishikesh for better treatment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Murmu condoled the loss of lives, with the Prime Minister announcing an ex gratia of Rs 2 lakhs from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund for each deceased and Rs 50,000 for the injured. The Uttarakhand government has suspended the Assistant Regional Transport Officer of Pauri and Almora and initiated an investigation into the incident.
सरकार ने इस घटना की संवेदनशीलता को देखते हुए 4 लाख रुपए का मुआवजा हर मृतक के परिजनों के लिए घोषित किया है। 1-1 लाख रुपए की धनराशि सभी घायलों के उपचार के लिए घोषित की गई है और पुलिस की ओर से भी जो हमारे वरिष्ठ अधिकारी मौके पर हैं वो घटना के कारणों की जांच पड़ताल कर रहे हैं और उसमें फिर जो भी प्रथम दृष्टया कारण निकल के आएंगे उसमें अभियोग पंजीकृत करके इसमें आवश्यक कार्रवाई की जाएगी।
The Supreme Court today is likely to pronounce the verdict on pleas challenging Allahabad High Court judgment, which declared the 2004 Uttar Pradesh law on Madrasas as unconstitutional. A bench comprising Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud and Justices J.B. Pardiwala and Manoj Mishra had on October 22nd reserved its judgment on 8 petitions, including the lead one filed by Anjum Qadri against the High Court verdict. On March 22nd, the Allahabad High Court had declared the law as unconstitutional and violative of the principle of secularism while directing the state government to accommodate madrasa students in the formal schooling system. On April 5th, the CJI-led bench had provided a breather to about 17 lakh madrasa students by staying the verdict on the High Court, scrapping the Uttar Pradesh Board of Madrasa Education. Viewers, tracking the top business stories for the day, we bring you the latest updates on India's economic landscape. From the rupee on Monday falling 4 paise to a record low of 84.11 against the US dollar, and India's Bharti Telecom has accepted bids worth an aggregate of 111.50 billion rupees. Stay tuned as we delve into the key highlights shaping the business world today. Billionaire businessman Mukesh Ambani targets a 2025 Mumbai listing for his telecom business Jio, valued at over $100 billion. and plans to launch his retail unit's IPO much later. Reliance has now firmed up plans to launch the Reliance Jio IPO in 2025 as it internally believes it has achieved a stable business and revenue stream in becoming India's #1 telecom player with 479 million subscribers. According to reports, Reliance aims for the 2025 Jio IPO to be India's biggest ever, overtaking Hyundai India's recorded $3.3 billion IPO this year. But the retail business IPO is not expected until after 2025, as the company first needs to address some internal business and operational challenges, according to reports. The rupee on Monday fell 4 paise to a record low of 84.11 against the US dollar. According to forex traders, the Indian rupee touched new all-time lows, weighed down by negative domestic markets, which fell nearly 1.18%. The softening of the US dollar prevented a sharp fall. At the interbank foreign exchange, the rupee opened at 84.07 against the US dollar. The dollar index, which gauges the greenback's strength against a basket of 6 currencies, was down 0.52% to 103.73 points. US dollar declined on disappointing non-farm payrolls report and ISM manufacturing PMI data from the US. India's Bharti Telecom has accepted bids worth an aggregate of 111.50 billion rupees through its biggest ever bond issue. This is also the country's biggest corporate bond issue in the current financial year, surpassing State Bank of India's issue in July, where it had raised 100 billion rupees. The bond was largely subscribed by mutual funds, insurance companies, private credit funds, and some foreign banks. Barclays and Standard Chartered Bank were the arrangers for the bond issue. Markets regulator Sebi on Monday allowed mutual funds to invest in overseas mutual funds or unit trusts that invest a specific portion of their assets in Indian securities. This is subject to the total exposure to Indian securities by such overseas funds not exceeding 25% of their net assets. The move is aimed at facilitating ease of investment in overseas mutual funds, bringing transparency in the manner of investment and enabling the mutual funds to diversify their overseas investments. Mutual fund schemes are required to ensure that all investors' contributions to an overseas mutual fund are combined into a single investment vehicle without any side vehicles. Sebi claims that all investors in the overseas mutual fund receive a share of returns or gains from the fund in proportion to their contribution. On Monday, Zamato CEO Deepinder Goyal announced that the company has terminated the vendor responsible for labeling incorrect packaging dates on mushroom packets. This was discovered during an FSSAI inspection at the Hyperpure warehouse in Hyderabad. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India team found mushrooms with future-dated packaging at this warehouse. Goyal explained that the erroneous packaging date on the 90 button mushroom packets resulted from a manual typing mistake by the vendor. Zamato Hyperpure is a B2B platform that provides restaurants, hotels, and caterers with a variety of kitchen essentials, including fresh produce, meats, seafood, poultry, gourmet foods, consumables, and kitchen equipment. Moving on to our international segment, where we're tracking the ground pulse of some of the biggest global headlines. Today, we delve into significant developments from around the world. From United Nations' warning against North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missile launch and US to go for presidential polls on November 5th, stay tuned as we unravel the latest updates shaping the global landscape. China has formally lodged an appeal with the World Trade Organization in response to the European Union's recent ruling to impose significant countervailing duties on Chinese electric vehicles. This move follows the European Union's final decision announced on October 29, which concluded an anti-subsidy investigation and set varying duties on sampled Chinese manufacturers, including 17% on BYD, 18.8% on Geely, and 35.3% on SAIC. In a statement from China's Commerce Ministry, officials expressed strong discontent with the European Union's ruling, asserting that it disregards numerous objections raised by various stakeholders, including European Union member state governments, industry representatives, and the public. China believes the European Union's measures are unfounded and constitute a misuse of the trade remedy protocols, characterizing them as a form of trade protectionism disguised as countervailing action. The primary motive of the appeal aims to protect the development interests of China's EV industry in the global electric vehicle supply chain. International observers have now confirmed that Moldova's elections face significant efforts of interference, primarily attributed to entities linked to the Russian Federation, including pro-Russian oligarchs and local groups with Russian ties. Marta Temido, a representative from the European Parliament, praised the Moldovan people for conducting their presidential election with professionalism and dedication, despite the ongoing meddling from Russian proxies. Pro-Western President Maya Sandu secured a second term in a contentious runoff against a Russia-friendly candidate, amidst claims of voter fraud and intimidation that underpin the vulnerabilities in Moldova's democratic process. The sharp westward shift irked Moscow and significantly soured relations with Moldova. As authorities investigate allegations of organized voter transportation and threats aimed at deterring participation, the situation has raised serious concerns about the integrity of the democracy in the former Soviet Republic nation.
Regrettably, we must recognize that significant efforts to interfere with this election were undertaken by various actors, including entities linked to the Russian Federation, pro-Russian oligarchs, and locally supported groups with Russian affiliations. We praise the Moldovan people for running the presidential election professionally and with an extraordinary sense of duty and dedication, despite the continued massive interference from Russia and its proxy.
The United Nations says North Korea's latest launch of an intercontinental ballistic missile is a flagrant violation of the UN sanctions. Assistant Secretary General Mohammed Khalid Kyari said the launch is a serious concern and represents a grave threat to regional stability. The launch was likely meant to grab American attention days ahead of the US election and respond to condemnation of the North's reported troop dispatch to Russia to support its war against Ukraine. There have been concerns that North Korea might seek Russian help to perfect its nuclear-capable missiles in return for its alleged dispatch of thousands of troops to support Russia's war against Ukraine. US Deputy Ambassador Robert Wood said the launch is a further evidence of cooperation between Russia and the DPRK. Meanwhile, North Korea's Ambassador Kim Song said the launch was merely an exercise in self-defense in response to the allegations. This test by the DPRK, however, demonstrates a potential advancement in its long-standing ambition of launching long-range nuclear attacks on mainland US.
The nature of the training Russia is providing to these forces, to include trench clearing, indicates Russia intends to use these forces in frontline operations. If these troops engage in combat or combat support operations against Ukraine, they would render themselves legitimate military targets. And let's be clear, if DPRK soldiers do enter into combat, this would demonstrate Russia's growing desperation in its war against Ukraine.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on Monday pledged to work with the future President of the United States, regardless of who wins the upcoming election, during a joint press conference with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Berlin. Rutte said it was the US's best interest to work with NATO and ensure the security alliance remains strong on both sides of the Atlantic. His affirmation comes post Donald Trump's skepticism about low defense spending among European allies and Canada during his last term that had massively undermined the trust of many member nations. Since taking over as Secretary General, Rutte has sought to shore up Western support for war-ravaged Ukraine and encouraged member states to boost defense spending. He also praised Germany during a news conference for spending 2% of its economic output on defense and called on other allies to invest more.
American elections, whoever wins those elections, we will work with Kamala Harris, we will work with Donald Trump and make sure that the alliance stays united. I have no doubt, because it is in our interest. It is our interest here, but also the United States, because they are not in this to not repeat the mistake after the First World War of withdrawing from Europe. No, they are in this because they know that if Putin would be successful in Ukraine.
A legal battle over Elon Musk's controversial $1 million a day voter sweepstakes returns to state court in Pennsylvania on Monday after a federal judge declined to take the case. Prosecutors, led by Democratic District Attorney Larry Krasner, argue that the sweepstakes constitutes an illegal lottery under state law, while election law experts raise concerns about potential violations of federal vote buying laws. Chris Gober, the attorney for Musk's Political Action Committee, claims the initiative is being targeted to silence Musk's support for Donald Trump, asserting that no prosecutor can undermine First Amendment rights. The case now proceeds before a senior judge yet to give verdict on Thursday.
We're in court today because some district attorney in Philadelphia wants to silence Elon Musk for supporting Donald Trump. Let me be clear about one thing. No district attorney, no prosecutor, I don't care how powerful they are, can take away the First Amendment freedoms that are the bedrock of this nation.
Donald Trump is intensifying his campaign efforts in North Carolina, rallying supporters daily until the election day in a crucial swing state he both won in 2016 and 2020. Acknowledging the state's significance, where he secured his narrowest victory margin of just 1.3 percentage points against Joe Biden, for Trump losing North Carolina could complicate his path to the 270 electoral votes needed for the presidency. As he also ventures into traditionally Democratic states like New Mexico and Virginia, Trump's commitment to North Carolina remains strong for the upcoming election. He has already held multiple rallies across the state, including stops in cities like Gastonia, Greensboro, Kinston, and Raleigh. While his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, has made 6 visits to bolster their efforts in the battleground state.
It's all up to now. I mean, we got 2 days. We've been working for 9 years. We did a great job. We had the best economy ever. We had the wall. We had everything. I built over 500 miles of wall. They don't even talk about the wall. But we had the best border, the safest border. I won't pull down my world's favorite chart because I don't want to waste a lot of your time. But my world's favorite chart, done by the Border Patrol, it said we had the safest border in the history of our country the day that I left.
All right, viewers, it's time to dive into the world of sports with our segment dedicated to all the action-packed highlights and exciting matchups. Today, we bring you the latest updates from the IPL Auction 2025, set to be held in Riyadh at end of November. Stay tuned as we unravel the story from the Real Madrid train with Champions League against AC Milan. Keep listening to all the buzz right here on our sports segment. Now that the IPL retention is done, speculations are rife over when the mega auction of the cash-rich league happens. As per sources, the much-awaited event is set to take place in Riyadh on November 24th and 25th. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli reportedly refused Ajit Agarkar's request to play domestic cricket. The report claims that the chief selector requested Kohli and Rohit to play Dulip Trophy matches ahead of the New Zealand series. Experienced Indian wicketkeeper batter Wriddhiman Saha declared his retirement from all formats of cricket. He disclosed in a sincere social media post that his last chapter in professional cricket would be the Ranji Trophy this season. Indian tennis player N. Sriram Balaji and his Argentine partner Guido Andreozzi made an early exit from the Moselle Open after losing their men's doubles first-round match. Iran's Persepolis and Al Gharaf of Qatar played out to a 1-1 draw in Dubai's Al Maktoum Stadium in the league phase of the AFC Champions League Elite on Monday evening. Persepolis' Faraji had put his side in front in the 53rd minute, but substitute Ahmed Al Ghanehi leveled just 3 minutes later before the visitors squandered a series of opportunities to take all 3 points. The result moves Al Gharaf onto 4 points from their first 4 games, while Persepolis continue to look for their first win with Juan Carlos Fernandez's side on 2 points at the halfway stage. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka became the first player to progress into the last 4 of the WTA Finals with a straight sets win over Jasmine Paolini after Sabalenka had got the better of Zheng Qinwen on Saturday. The Belarusian backed it up with a 6-3, 7-5 victory after a 90-minute battle with Paolini in purple group. Sabalenka took control in Riyadh from the off and established a 4-0 lead to eventually take the first set. But it was a different story in the second, and Paolini failed to close out 2 set points to suffer a narrow defeat. Real Madrid trained on Monday as they prepare for their Champions League tie against AC Milan. Los Blancos have had a few extra days to prepare for the UCL fixture, as their La Liga tie with Valencia last weekend was postponed due to the disastrous floods. Madrid have only lost one of their last 18 games against Italian opponents in Europe's biggest competitions and have beaten AC Milan in 5 of the last 7 home head-to-head fixtures. Tracking the buzz, it's time to delve into the world of entertainment. Today, we bring you highlights from the Squid Game Season 2 made its Los Angeles debut. This and more as we unravel all the latest updates from the entertainment industry this morning. Dawson's Creek star James Van Der Beek has been diagnosed with colorectal cancer. The star confirmed his diagnosis to People, saying that he has been privately dealing with this diagnosis and has been taking steps to resolve it with the support of his family. James Van Der Beek shared that he was born while his father was playing minor league baseball for the AA Waterbury Dodgers. His family lived in a third-floor walk-up attic apartment. He's also set to appear in 2-hour special The Real Full Monty, airing December 9th, joining other male stars to raise awareness about colorectal, testicular and prostate cancer testing. Britain's Prince William met with young environmentalists and local fishermen during a visit to South Africa on Monday. William formed the Earthshot Prize through his Royal Foundation in 2020 to encourage new ideas to solve environmental problems. He said that he wanted this year's awards to inspire young people involved in climate action across Africa. Nomzamo Mata, the South African actress and Earthshot global ambassador, asked the audience in the event about who was ready to create a more sustainable world, playfully noting that the prince didn't raise his hand before repeating the question. The 42-year-old heir to the throne will also attend a global wildlife summit and spend time at a sea rescue institute during 4 days of events in Cape Town. He will also use the visit to highlight other issues close to his heart, such as the work of rangers on the front line of conservation efforts.
Who's ready to build a more sustainable world? The prince didn't pick up his hand. Who's ready to build a more sustainable world?
Venom, The Last Dance, is enjoying another weekend at the top of the box office charts. Globally, it passed $300 million. It was a relatively quiet weekend for North American movie theaters. Leading up to the presidential election, charts were dominated by major studio holdovers like The Wild Robot and Smile 2. Viewers, that's all from today's edition of Quick Morning. Stay tuned to Republic TV as we bring you all the latest developments from around the country and the world. So don't go anywhere.